It's you to blame, it's you to blame, that's why I'm like this. It's you that changes you.
Hi guys, it's your cheeky all-star Don Calya, and this is the weekend turn-up with Sports Scene. Shout out. So who is Don Calya? Well, she is South African born, but grew up in Sydney, Australia. She is an alternative pop singer-songwriter. She tried to figure out herself. I love how I use myself in third person. I always sound like she, sound formal. Whilst I'm obsessed with fashion, I'm a music fiend, I'm a music head. I've been doing it since primary school. And the reason why I fell into alternative pop was because I just grew up in different genres, like from your classical jazz to hip hop, rap, pop rock, rock and punk. And ever since 18 and falling in love with performing on stage more outside of school, I was just like, yeah, this is Don Calya and what she's about, performance, rocking out with, her supporters and friends, because I'm just a very extrovert and outgoing. Yeah, so I went into fashion design. So I went into that world and it was really it was hectic. I was like, oh, it's really competitive, and I was just kind of still doing music on the side. But I remember one time just sitting when I was in LA and I was chosen to represent Sydney, Australia in one of these agencies. I don't know if you guys know iPop. It's pretty known now, yeah. And we went over to LA. It was like a team of 7. We were representing Sydney. And it was a performance on stage, and I did Fly by Nicki Minaj and Rihanna. Yeah. So I rap sang, and the crowd's reaction was just, for me, like, okay, I like this feeling, rather than getting an A on your assignment. And I was studying then, and I was just like, do I continue the studying, or this feeling that I have on stage, do I continue with it? So I convinced my dad, after many years of convincing, I want to do this as a career. And yeah, I just kept going. But I mean, it was highs and lows. I then went back to LA. I did music, then I moved to the UK because I was like, I'm not feeling the American scene. I feel like I'm drowning. I don't really know my sound. It's so big. Went to the UK again, another big music scene. I was still 19 at the time, and then 20, and trying to figure it out. And then I came back to South Africa because I was like, let me just come home. As an artist, the artists that inspire me were always honest from the beginning of it was the grind and this is what happened. So I was like, I want to be that artist. So, I mean, when I came to South Africa, so after, America doing my first singles and the UK, and my dad, allowing me to just, be free and do that. I thought it was great. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be Rihanna in a few minutes. And then I came home and I was like, all right, let's go, maybe refine my sound here, because the music industry is still small here. It's great, but it's still also small. So I was like, okay, you can still have time to figure yourself out. Had a team. I was like, yeah, let's go, ready for it. But then again, you meet, people in the industry who don't really know what you are going for. And then obviously being a young female, you're very you're dealing with a lot of men in the industry, so they're entitled, and they say, if you don't do this, you won't get to a certain place. So as a young female, you're like, oh, okay, maybe, yeah, you're second guessing yourself. So I had that, and then for 3 years I was dealing with this team, but nothing was happening. So I'm like, why? It's not me, because I'm making, going out, I'm networking, I'm, going to these events, I'm getting to know people, but not obviously desperately stamping on them. I'm like, no, I do music, just that genuine networking. And then eventually I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna go independent. I left that team. I was like, look, thank you. You guys have opened up doors to where I know I can go, but I don't need you anymore because I just haven't felt like I've grown. Now I'm fully independent, and when I moved into independency, I actually was more, I think, confident that this is Don Calya. She's alternative. She, isn't boxed into one genre. She doesn't look a certain way, and that's why I changed from cheeky rock star to alt, because obviously rock star, everyone assumed, okay, tattoos. Do you do drugs? Are you party head? And I'm like, I'm a homebody, and I like to read, and I'm checking the news now and then, and I'm very aware of the social injustice in the world. I'm activist into it, and so it was really hard when I had that title too, and I was just like, you know what, alt. I just sat there and I was like, alternative pop, why not alt? let me go with it, because now no one can be like, oh, but shouldn't you look like this, or like, they're like, oh, okay, that's what it is because you've dressed like that. So I went with that, and ever since dropping end of last year, I mean, yeah, people were confused, like, oh, you make this kind of sound. It's not really, you know, what we would think you would drop, or especially someone, you know, that looks like you would think, you know, maybe R&B or hip hop. Even with the, like, friends that I have, they're very into hip hop and trap, but I was just like, yeah, but they can be, and I'm not holding them back, but I'm really, like, versatile. I love everything. Yeah, it was a hard process, I won't lie. It was like 3 years of, you know, going, I'm an artist, but I was, you know, working in retail, and I was seeing my, like, other friends performing and knowing themselves. And I think a lot of people, we forget the journey. And I remember my sister saying, because she's older than me and wise, I will say, she was like, remember the journey though. I think we all forget that. And I mean, when I think about it now, that journey really helped me just be more confident, so that if any team or label come, they can't easily just be like, well, Calya or Don, we think you should be like this. I'll be like, no, but it's been working for me.
Oh, but the world, you can say I'm very diverse.
So the first single I did drop end of last year, and it was that like pop rock, you know, but it could be based in pop. A lot of people like, even like hip hoppers were like, Waiting's actually a lovely love song. Like, you know, I had rappers come and be like, it's beautiful. And I was like, really? You listen to it? Great. They were like, I can use it for my lady. I'm like, yes, it'll work, trust me. It was just a song that I wrote like for my ex, thinking he'd come back, but you know, I'm still single. So that song really for me was, you know, the feedback on that was really positive. People were like, this is so you, it fits your sound. Like even like random people, when I would send it out, they'd message me back and be like, this is something different. Or even international, they're like, we hear an international fan. These were like producers that were experienced. It wasn't like, oh, you know, a young kid. It was like, so I'm like, okay, that's great, because I did grow up in Sydney. So like I lived most of my life there. So I would hope that some element of international came, you know, in there. But I mean, I also wanted to keep it like local too, because I mean, I love local music, and obviously in SA we've got to like be for our sound and our music and our people. So I never want to like divert from that. And I even learned in the 3 years of being back. So yeah, when my first singles that I released, when I hear back on it, I'm like, oh, I was so 18 and young. Like even the lyrics, it's just so like bubblegummy and just teenage vibes, very airy-fairy. One song though, Rebels, I will say, I think more of the melody should have been a little bit faster, but the words were like exactly what I wanted to say. Like, I'm a rebel in my own skin, and I'm not apologetic for it. And then obviously the interludes, just the longer, because a lot of people were complaining. I was like, why are you complaining? I'm keeping it. They're like, no, it's great. But then after a minute, we're like, so like, are you coming back? Is it continuation? And I'm like, no, I just gave you a little, you know, snip. Yeah, a teaser. But I definitely feel like every artist should feel like they should grow. Like I'm even going, what's next? From currently now, I've moved from like your pop rock to EDM, and then into hip hop, R&B, rap, hip hop, and now I'm like, what am I gonna try next now, you know? So with a lot of my music, it's been in that moment of what's happened, past events, or currently, you know, heartbreak. Always, I'm just angry, you know, at how I've been treated. And, you know, even in the music industry, I'll talk about that, but I won't like go too into depth. I know music songs aren't that long, but I'll try and write so that, you know, you get a glimpse of it and everyone's like, I either then talk about like social injustice, because I'm very involved, you know, being like a black female. I feel like I can't ignore, you know, people being oppressed. I hit into the music industry. It was all different levels. So like I said, I started overseas. So in Australia, my problem was that I wasn't white. And it was very hard because it was kind of like must I change now to, you know, fit in here? So then when I went to America, you know, they were kind of like, you know, you look a little bit Latino, maybe learn some. And I'm like, I am not even Latino descent. Like there's no, you know, so I felt like I wouldn't want to do that. And they were like, oh, you could do so much with it. You look it. I'm like, it's one thing to look it, but then I'm not be it. I'm not it. And I don't want to start, for me as an artist, I don't want to be, you know, fake.
It's you to blame, it's you to blame, that's why I'm lying.
So currently right now I dropped my another single. It's an interlude. And I was already getting like
Interlude.
yeah, the interludes. Everyone's like, you give me, and this one especially, they were like, we really wish you extended it. And I was just like, me too. But I mean, guys, I felt this. So we recorded a music video which will be dropping soon. November, I'm hoping, because I do want to get it out and just have everyone see, you know, because how I work is my visuals will make sense with the words I say, because I'm very like the way I write, some people might, yeah, it's like some people might not pick it up right away. So maybe with the visuals they kind of get the idea, and especially with interludes it's so quick. I'm like, all right, I got to use the visuals now to kind of be like, oh, okay, that's what she meant. So yeah, Call Me is out and available, and the music video will come out real soon.
I'd rather be dead than alive and alive with you, but
Hopefully an EP. A lot of people are asking me, they want a body of work, because they see the versatility and they're like, what is your EP gonna even be? And I'm like, it's coming, it's in the process. I think I have only like literally 2 more songs, and I'm like, I think this will be the end of it, and then I can drop it. I do have the title. I've had it for like 2 years. It's I'm Not Normal, which makes sense when you'll hear it. And yeah, that'll just be I think the next push. It's definitely, because EPs are a full body of work. You know what I mean? I just want to focus. I think I want to focus on that for the next year, going to 2021. Obviously, with 2020, COVID just came and tapped us all away. So I was just kind of like, let me use this year to like grow and just know what I want. So yeah, I've made my decision that EP's got to like come out, because now I have singles that people are like, we know these singles.
hello. I just came to tell my
I would just tell them like, you know, keep believing in yourself. I think you've got to love yourself and know your self-worth. You can't go out looking for it, because you will get in trouble. You'll end up in, you know, situations where you're like, how did I even get here? I think just tell yourself, like, who are you not to love yourself? And
say I'm very diverse. I might be
so guys, thank you. That was Don Calya with Sports Scene Weekend Turn Up Sessions. You can catch my music on all digital platforms, so your Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, at Don Calya. So it's DON space Calya, CALYA. I've got to do those. And you can catch me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at Don Calya, DON space CALYA. And yeah, I'm your cheeky all-star, and thank you for tuning in.